mad upon you, and you wash them sin face Jerusalem. Blessed are the feast of Judas. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Asherah.
Asherah.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Hayawadah.
Hayawadah.
Bashalawam.
Bashalawam.
Tawada.
Tawada.
Amen.
Amen.
English translation. Blessed are ye in the name of Yahushai that gives to us the feast of Judas. In peace, thank you, so be it. Psalm 121. Ta'alim ma'a ashraya makai. Anya, Oriam, Ayimya, O, Oriam, Mayan, Yabu'a, Isaiah, Yabu'a, Mayahawa, Shaisha, Shamayam, Rataza, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Wilgalia, Yala'a, Yanawam, Shashamaka, Ana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayishan, Shashoma, Yashurala, Yahweh, Shemaya, Yahweh, Tazalia, Ayad, Yad, Yenyamya, Yawamam, Hashemash, La'a, Akaya, Wayrak, La'a, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashemaya, Makal, Rai, Yashemah, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashemah, Awalakia, Wawaya, Maitha, Wa'ait, Iwalam, Basham, Yahushai, Tawada, Amen.
Amen. Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen.
Amen. Shema Yashrala, heal Israel. Shema Yashrala, Yahweh, Allah Hainawa, Yahweh, Akkad, Shema Yashrala, Yahweh, Allah Hainawa, Yahweh, Akkad, Shema Yashrala, Yahweh, Allah Hainawa, Yahweh, Akkad.
Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Amen.
Amen. Yahweh Tabula, Yahweh's prayer. Abiyanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Aya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakovka, Taba'a, Ratazawanka, Aya, Aisha, Barataza, Ka, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lacham, Yawam, Za, Wasalaknawa, Kawasnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawafinawa, Wala'a, Abiyanawa, O, Nasai 1, Abo, Kawashainawa, Morai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Watabarat, Iwulam, Amen.
Amen. Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Amen. Ashrama Tazawaf, the Ten Commandments. La'a,
La'a,
Yahaya,
Yahaya,
Laka,
Laka,
Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Alkayim,
Akarim,
Alpanya,
Alpanya,
La'a,
La'a,
Taisha,
Taisha,
Laka,
Laka,
Poso,
Paso,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Taibadam,
Laibadam,
La'a,
La'a,
Talakwaka,
Talakwaka,
Shamwa,
Shamwa,
Yahawa,
Yahweh,
Lahaika,
Lahaika,
Lashua,
Lashua,
Zakar,
Zakar,
Ayuam,
Ayawam,
Ashabaf,
Ashabat,
Lakudashwa,
Lakadashwa,
Kabad,
Kabad,
Abika,
Abika,
Amaka,
Amaka,
La'a,
La'a,
Toatazak,
Teratizak,
La'a,
La'a,
Tana'ak,
Tana'a,
La'a,
La'a,
Taganab,
Tagana,
La'a,
La'a,
Taina,
Taina,
Shukur,
Shakur,
La'a,
La'a,
Takamad,
Takamar,
Lahaika,
Araika,
Ko,
Ko,
Ashura,
Ashura,
Lahaika,
Laraika.
Amen.
Amen. Exodus 20 and 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee an engraven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the earth. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and holiday. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen.
Amen. Yeshua, please be seated. Barakata Yawa Ba'ashem Yahushai, Asherah, Natananawa Paya Gapan Tuara Aman, La Yahawa Ba'ashem Yahushai, Af Yashal. I'm mad weapon you are, you watch them since fish Jerusalem. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakata Yahweh,
Agado,
Akadal,
Rakaram,
Rakarat,
Abio,
Abiyah,
Wadawa'a,
Wadawa'a,
Ali1,
Aliwan,
Malak,
Malak,
Sho,
Shah,
Shamayim,
Shaddamai,
Rarataza,
Barakata,
Wako,
Wakad,
Dobayim,
Dabar,
Kayayum,
Kayayam,
Wagum,
Wakam,
Hamashiach,
Hamashiach,
Mayahawa,
Mayahawa,
Adawannawa,
Adawanna,
Ahabnawa,
Ahabna,
Hapala,
Apala,
Yahaitaza,
Yahaitza,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Zakarnawa,
Sakarnao,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ratazawan,
Baratazawan,
Aimka,
Anka,
Yasha'ala,
Yasharala,
Aizonawa,
Azana,
Bana,
Bana,
Wasap,
Wasa,
Yasharala,
Yasharala,
O, Nanawa,
Nanao,
Yamyon,
Yimyan,
Aitha,
Aita,
Kaiwumyam,
Kayawamim,
Akudam,
Bakadam,
Abakusha,
Bakusha,
Shalat,
Shala,
Maika Allah,
Maaka,
Watazawadak,
Wakazawadak,
Alahayam,
Ayam,
La,
La,
Magunnawa,
Magana,
Wapannawa,
Rapana,
Ashmore,
Lashimo,
Alnawa,
Alna,
Baikor,
Baikor,
Shalat,
Shala,
Aroka,
Aroka,
Shaw,
Shah,
Yahushai,
Yahusha,
Lanawa,
Lanao,
Talamadnawa,
Alamadna,
Rabium,
Rabi,
Kakama,
Kakama,
Tabawana,
Dabawan,
Wadaif,
Wadai,
Shaw,
Shah,
the Barka,
Barka,
Basham,
Basham,
Yahushai,
Yahusha,
the Water,
the Water,
the Myad,
the Miyad,
Waiulam,
Waiwalam,
Aman.
Aman.
English translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living, and also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably, your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel, most high. We beg you right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and righteous powers, angels, to watch over us, to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the Spirit of Yahushua to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, understanding of that word. In the name of Yahushua, oh, in the name of Yahushua, thank you. So be it. Repeat the Hebrew only. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that give to us the law. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakata Yahweh,
Hashem Yahushua,
Basham Yahusha,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Atananawa,
Atananao,
Athaorah.
Hathorah,
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that give to us the light to see. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakata Yahweh,
Hashem Yahushua,
Basham Yahusha,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Atananawa,
Atananao,
Awar,
Awar,
La'arah.
Lara,
Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua that give to us the ransom to call the people. Barakata Yahweh,
Barakata Yahweh,
Bashem Yahushua,
Basham Yahusha,
Asherah,
Asherah,
Atananawa,
Atananao,
Karan,
Karan,
Ayo,
Ayo,
Lakara,
Lakara,
A'aim.
Ahan.
Yeshua, please be seated. Shalom, Yeshua.
Shalom.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom, those watching on the live stream. Shalom, those listening on the conference line. Welcome to Hayya Yashua Kanas, where we teach the children of Israel are those who forefathers were brought here on cargo slave ships during the transatlantic slave trade. Also, those that they call the natives who came here in a land where no man dwelt. They were the first who discovered this land. So they are the real Jews that the Bible speaks of. Actually, the real Israelite that the Bible speaks of. All right. So today is the feast of Judas, the day of Judas. Let me correct that real fast. All right, so welcome to the day of Judas. We're gonna read what this day is about. Why we come to have a day to remember what happened that made us congregate today to remember this day. My name is Colin Poquard, and it is with great humility and honor that I'm here to preside over the service. So it's 9:25. I'm gonna try to get through and explain as fast as I can, but with some scriptures that I will pull to clarify some of the verses that I will be going over. So without further ado, the book that we're going to be reading today will be First Maccabees chapter 14, 15, and Second Maccabees chapter 7. But before we start reading the chapters, let's get some understanding of what this is all about. Okay? The day of Judas came about beginning with Alexander the Greek. The world called him Alexander the Great, but we call him Alexander the Greek. Of course, he conquered many countries, many cities, and during his conquest, he fought many soldiers of the Babylonian, I'm sorry, the Persian and the Medes, right? So let's go into the history of his conquest. But we're not going to dwell on him too much because we have a lot to cover and we want to be mindful of the time. So he came to power, Alexander the Greek, around 336 BC, when his father, Philip, was assassinated, right, at a wedding. And when he was assassinated at the wedding of Alexander's sister. So Alexander the Great, or the Greek, conquered large ancient empires, right? And those empires, predominantly we had the Persian and the Medes, who were the dominant empire at that time. So in his 13 years as king of Macedonia, Alexander died at the age of 32 outside the city of Babylon. But there's no clear indication there was no clear indication after he died how the empire would continue. So he had friends and generals who conquered those cities with him. They had to fight among themselves to take over the empire after he died, after his death. So after about 40 years of power struggle, they finally had some stability. So two of his generals, we had the Seleucid and Ptolemies. So to keep the kingdom function, they had to come up with political strategies on how they would keep things together. So as the empire became embroiled in in power struggle, two of those generals that I mentioned, Seleucus and Ptolemy, they were the two prominent generals who took over his empire. Right? So, how did they rule the empire? And how did they keep things going? We had Seleucus had the larger part of the empire as opposed to Ptolemy. So he had more obligation on him to come up with better strategy to keep the people in line with his way of ruling his kingdom. So you can understand when you have such a large empire, you're gonna have to have system in place so that you can rule and keep the empire going for many years or even decades or centuries if you want to maintain your your colonial your colonial rulership going. So what he did, and the focus now will be on the Seleucid dynasty, because that's pretty much who we had most of the problem with. When I say we, I'm talking about the Israelites. So they begin with the process of what we call Hellenization. So Hellenization means that everything, culture, language, right, way of life would have to be the way of the Greeks. So everything that the Greeks wanted to implement as far as their culture, they wanted everybody to follow after that culture, right? After their language, after their customs. So it come a point where as you expand, some people would agree with what you say, some people would disagree. They will rebel against your doctrine or against your ideology, against your empire state of mind, to keep up with their culture that they grew up with, or the culture of their forefathers. So when it comes to us, they had a hard time to implement the custom, culture, and mentality of the Greeks upon us. So that's where Judas Maccabeus came in the picture, right? Him started with his father, then he took over. So that's pretty much a brief synopsis. Without going in too much details, like I said, we had two chapters that we're about to read here. That's gonna be very kind of long chapters, but we're gonna go through those chapters fast so we can wrap up the of Judas. So the first chapter that we're gonna go into is First Maccabees chapter 14. Is that what it is? First Maccabees chapter 14? 13? That's what I got from you. I got 14 and 15.
Yeah,
Second Maccabees 14. Oh yeah, we're gonna First Maccabees chapter 7.
You been second, right?
Yeah, second. I'm in second. Second Maccabees 14 and 15, but we're gonna start with First Maccabees chapter 7. Go on, to water. First Maccabees chapter 7. So now the reason why we're reading this and we talking about the Seleucid dynasty took over after Alexander died is because when they wanted to implement their Hellenistic culture, we, the Israelites, we resisted any attempts of Hellenization. So we revolted against it. We revolted against the solution, and they, in turn, they retaliated. So how they retaliated, they wanted to ban our culture. So there was a culture clash between the Greeks and our culture. So we resisted, we rebelled, and there was retaliation on their part. So that's what this is all about. So let's read. It says in chapter 7 in First Maccabees, it says, in the 151st year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucid, departed from Rome and came up with a few men. Came up with a few men unto a city of the sea coast and reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias to bring them unto him. Now we're moving from the Seleucids. Now we're going into the Antiochus, right? So now we're going from one ruling class to the next ruling class. It started with the Seleucid, and they pass it down from one ruling class of the same people to the next ruling class, right? As they establish their empire.
Hello, brother.
Shalom, Mark. All right, so let's move on. So now we have Demetrius. He's the son of Seleucus. He departed from Rome and came up and reigned there, right, in Rome. I mean, it reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so he came from Rome and come to the palace of his ancestors, so his descendants, his people, right? So it says of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias to bring them unto him. Wherefore, when he knew it, he said, let me not see their faces. So his host slew them. Now when Demetrius was set upon the throne of his kingdom, there came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having Archimus, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain. So now even though it's their kingdom, sometimes they don't agree on peaceful transfer of power. In order for them to, because it's a power struggle, right? They fight among themselves, right? They kill each other to take over because power is something that is tempting, right? Especially the privileges of being a king and everything that comes with it, right? Anyone in the family that wants to seek power, since that's how the first one they got it, so the second one seek the opportunity to take power. So now when one of them got into power, so our people seek the opportunity also to set in league with them, right? Because now they are the dominant empire. They have influence on other countries around about or other cities and people. So if you want to stay in power, or if you want to rule over your own people, you would have to, make agreement with them or make ally become their ally so that they can be your ally. And if you have any problem ruling over your people, they will come to your aid, right? To move on with the Hellenization that they have going on in their culture, right? So our people, Alchemists, he wanted to be priest over. He wanted the position of being high priest, right, to rule over the children of Israel. So since those Greek power structure, they have authority in the region. It was a good strategy on their part, right, to try to get in line with them so that they can get more power over Israel. So now let's read on. It says, there came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having alchemists, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain. And they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends and driven us out of our own land. Right? So now, if you try to understand this in real time, you'll see how U.S. is pretty much who they call the leader of the free world, so to speak, right? In the West, U.S. has power over not only Europe, right? They have power over the Caribbean nation, right? In Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and all the island, or all the little countries that's in the island outside of Cuba and Venezuela, who's fighting with them, right? So they don't want Western civilization, or they don't want Western culture, right? In their in invade their culture, so they stood for their rights. Cuba stood for its right. Venezuela is fighting to keep to stand for its right. But now you have Haiti now controlled by the U.S. Any Haitian government that wants to stay in power, they gotta be in league with the U.S., right? So that the U.S. can keep them going to their detriment, because the culture, lifestyle, and mentality of the West, as you can see it, is homosexuality and a lot of foul, immoral, a lot of immoral things going on in this country, right? Practices. So now you had those men, going back to the story again, you have those men who seek favor of the king right, of the king, so that they can have power over Israel. And they said that they reported the main guy that they have a problem with is Judas, because they said Judas, he's a problem to the king's friend. So which means he's in opposition to the king's friend. So automatically they reported him. Now, if they get rid of them, now they would, put him in power. Kind of like the same thing being played out in today's politics, as opposed to how, as to how it started back then. It's the same strategy, same tactics, same foreign policy, same diplomatic effort being played out in this here as you're seeing played out in modern time, right? So there's no difference. So now it says, now therefore send some men whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he hath made among us and in the king's land, and let him punish them with all them that ate them. He says, okay, so now if you send some people to investigate, you'll find out what we come to tell you, the report that we come to give you of this guy. Send somebody to investigate, and you'll see the evidence of everything that we reported to you right now. How this man, he's causing a lot of problem in the land. Mind you, this is our people reporting to the Greeks, right? Of reporting to the Greeks about Judas, just so that they can put them in power. So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable word deceitfully. So now they do what they do best. They call that diplomacy, right? Diplomacy is you pretend to be friendly, but what you don't say is what you got to watch out for. What they don't tell you is what you got to watch out for, right? The nice word of, for example, if you hear when a diplomat goes to one of those countries, they say we are friends. We want to establish peace and democracy, right, in the land, and human rights, right? So all these nice words, but really they having a covert operation, behind the scene going on to get rid of you, but through violence, right? It says, so they departed and they come peaceably, and they sent messenger to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. So it was, they dress it out, right? Pretending like they want to be in peace with Judas, but in actuality or in reality, they want to destroy him because he's a problem for the king. But they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they will come with a great power. So now Judas, being a strategist, what you saying versus the action, the people that you presented with, you present with an army. So if you come with force, and then you saying peaceable words, it's the two don't match, right? If you really come for peace, there's no need to come with forces, right? With soldiers. The fact that you come with soldiers, you have something else in mind, right? So Judas did not fall for the deception, right? It says, then did there assemble unto Archimus and Bacchides a company of scribes to require justice, right? Now the Syrians, were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them. So now they pretended to have, like a commission, a commission of people, commission to give the people justice, right? So they set up a justice system, right? So that the people can go and ask for justice based on the report that they give to the king about Judas, right? Just to show that Judas is doing injustice to the people. So now they want the people to get justice. So they establish a justice system so that the people can go and report or go and present their grief, right? So now in verse 13, I'm sorry, verse 14. For said day, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong. So he spake unto them peaceably, and swear unto them, saying, We will procure the arm, neither of you nor your friends, nor your friends. Whereupon they believe him. Howbeit he took of them 80 men, and slew them in one day, according to the words which he wrote. So again, those people who actually believe did not, they didn't act like Judas. They believed the word of these men who came with the armies, and they massacred these people. It was a great massacre there, right? So in verse 17, the flesh of thy saint have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem, and there was none to buy them. Wherefore the feet and dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, There is neither truth nor righteousness in them, for they have broken the covenant and oath that they made. All right, so from the inception, right, they did not have any truth in them, but the people, they were none the smarter, right? They did not take heed to what Judas did. They went about, did the contrary, and they were murdered. After this, we moved Bacchides from Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Bezer, where he sent and took many of the men that had forsaken, and certain of the people also, and when he had slain them, he cast them into great pit. So again, he slayed them and put them in a hole, right? He buried them. Then committed he the country to Archimus, and left with him a power to aid him. So Bacchide went to the king. So he pretty much went by force. He massacred the people, and he installed Archimus by force as high priest over the people. Right? So this kind of practice is happening today, right? And it happens, it's happening in a different way, but like through war, when the US wants to to get rid of a government to put another government in place, he find all kinds of excuses, to get rid of the opposition, be it by force. He do it to through the CIA. Right now, it's more like covert operation because now they say you gotta be smarter. Right? They do it through the CIA. Right? They use the CIA, and also they use the same way you see it being done here. They use people of your own nation who are traitors, right? Who are hungry for power, who want to take over. They do it through these people, right? So that you don't see their hand directly, but indirectly, they are the one behind it, right? So it's the same Greek tactics, and that's why we usually say America is an extension. This empire is an extension of the Greco-Roman Empire, right? It's pretty much a blend of those two empires, right? And it says that in when you read the book of Revelations and many other scriptures that can prove that. But for the sake of time, we're gonna continue reading the story here. It says, "And unto him we store all such." Right. This is, but Archimus contended for the high priest, and unto him resorted all such as trouble the people, who after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel. Because when you got when you have when you take power, take power by violence, you have to continue violence. You have to continue the stream of violence to keep power, right? So that's pretty much what he did, because he didn't get it by the people asking him or see favor in him by him keeping the law, but he got it through violence. So in order to keep the power going, he has to continue enforce violence to instill fear in the people, to force them to comply to his way of doing things. Right? So continue on. You see here right here, it says it did much hurt in Israel. Verse 23. Now when Judas saw all the mischief that Alchemist and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen, right? So now, in order for him to keep power, since he already familiar with the people, he did even worse than what the heathen did to the people, right? So that's how, when you got, like, again, when you have power through violence, the circle of violence has to continue in order for you to sustain your power, right? Because at that point, there's no turning back, because the people already hate you. There's no way they're gonna deal with you, and you want to keep power. So how else are you gonna keep power than to keep murdering them, to eventually try to find some peace, right? Some stability, right? To keep going. But it's not gonna last, because the people will never comply with this way of life that the Greek were trying to impose on them, right? Verse 24. He went out into all the coasts of Judea round about. Let me read verse 23. Now when Judas saw all the mischief that Alchemist and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen, he went out into all the coasts of Judea round about, and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him, so that they thus no more go forth into the country. So now Judas continue his revolution. So that's when you have a revolution started, right? You have one power try to enforce, his will upon the people, and the people, at some point in time, they're gonna get fed up, and someone that is courageous enough gonna rise up, say enough is enough, something got to give. I'm gonna fight. We're not gonna continue to live like this. So Judas was that man that rose up as the revolutionary to take over, to take on this mission. On the other side, when Alchemist saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand, right? So when Alchemist saw that Judas had and his company had gotten the upper hand and knew that he was not able to abide their forces, he went again to the king and said all the worst of them that he could. So again, now he's overpowered by Judas. His strategy is to seek help from the king because now the king is his ally. So he needs some forces, he needs resources, he needs some reinforcement to come back and fight Judas. Right? So he's not gonna give up because at this point he's at a place of no return. It's do or die. Right? And Judas, on the other hand, is not gonna, bow down. So now you can imagine the crime that's going on among our people at that time. Right? You can imagine the level of instability and the circle of crime that's going on. Judas, on one hand, is fighting, he's killing people, right? And Alchemist is killing people to preserve power, to keep his power going. So now you have a crime going on all over the place in Jerusalem, in Judea. First is when now he went to seek help, right? To his ally, the king. Now 26. Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable prince. So now here's the introduction of Nicanor, right? Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bear deadly hate unto Israel, with commandments to destroy the people. So you always got to have, they always have those people in the circle of counsel, right? These men right here, he's pretty much one of his princes, his prominent princes, but one, his policy towards towards Israel is fierce. So his ideology, the way he sees us, is fierce. So that's the man that he's gonna use, right, to help Archimus in his fight against Judas. So that's the man that he's gonna use to help Archimus out, right? So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying. So now, see the way you use Nicanor right here is the same way today they would use an ambassador. They would send an ambassador or an envoy, kind of like the way they send, somebody who's like Condoleezza Rice, for example, someone who can speak Russian, who somewhat have some understanding of the Russian culture, right? You will send somebody like that. Like Nicanor is somebody who knew some of our culture and hate our guts, right? So that's the man that he's gonna use, right? Kind of like you would send um, an example I can take is somebody who speaks Chinese, right? In Washington right now, right? You're gonna send somebody who live in China, who understand Chinese culture, right? That's the and he hate the Chinese. That's the person that you would send as an ambassador to negotiate with China. But the way you would do it in peace. But really, you try to find the first opportunity wherever they leave like a open. Oh, they have a flaw. They leave a weakness open. That person will be able to take advantage or tell the troop when to move in and carry out an attack to take down, whoever they want to take down, right? So this right here is pretty much foreign relation, diplomacy, right? And started right there, as you can see as you're reading here, right? So I make this parallel between now and what happened back then, so that you can relate. See, there's nothing new under the sun, right? It's the same spirit operating back then. Those are the same spirit operating today, but carrying out things in different form, but it's the same mentality behind it. It's the same technique, same tactic, but more cover up today because, we have what they set up what they call human rights. Things are human rights violation. But the human rights violation is because Esau wants to have monopoly on killing. When he kills, he do it through mass, he do it through war, right? He goes in and have an excuse to go to war and he get rid of people. Now there's no human rights violation. But if you try to do it on him, then now it's a human rights violation. That's like a double standard. All right, so because he knows the only way to get things done is an eye for an eye. There's no peace with Esau. There's no way. That's why Yahushua gotta come in and get rid of him, right? And when he's gonna come get rid of him, he's not gonna come shaking hand with him. It's gonna be a bloodbath, right? So that's why Esau, he run that human rights violation tactic on people, so that you don't do the same thing that he did to take over power, right? So that's why he have a problem with Iran. He has a problem with other countries who try to level up to his to his to his standard in terms of weapon. All right. So the only thing that Esau respect today is weapon of mass destruction. If you have nuclear weapon, Esau will be try to negotiate with you to the point where to see if they can get rid of you through diplomacy, right? But if you don't have any nuclear weapon, they walk on you like they walk on a doormat. All right.
Oh man, so you mean to tell me I'm to get a master's in diplomacy? You just summed it up right there.
Right.
I don't think top dollar, some high-end university, get a master's in diplomacy. You just broke it all down, man.
Right. You're not a threat. If you don't have nuclear weapon, you're not a threat.
That's all it is, man.
Go ahead. So
Because according to them, they say these are complex issues.
right.
These are complex geopolitical issues.
Right.
It's just like, nah, not really.
Not really.
It's got the biggest thing.
Yeah, we got the biggest weapon. All right. It says let there be no battle between verse 27. So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and said unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between me and you. I will come with a few men that I may see you in peace. Right? Anybody can get the scripture? Like he came with peaceable word, but war was in his mouth. I mean, war was in his mind. Psalm 55. You could read that once you have it, Baba Krishna. Psalm 55 and 21. While you could read that, Baba Krishna, once you have it.
55 and 21 of Psalms.
Come.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil.
Right.
Yet were they drawn swords.
Right. Keep in mind, his words, he says his words were his mouth. His words were smoother than oil, right?
Right.
Imagine how smooth oil is. And this man's word as they coming out. So they jazz it up. They make it nice. It delight the ear. It make you want to hear what he's saying. And then he makes you go to sleep. So once you sleep, that's it. Next thing you know, you wake up with gunshot and bullet wounds. You know,
You don't even wake up.
you don't even wake up to be. Well, you don't even wake up. In the news, people hear, you got killed, right? With gunshot and missiles. So that tactics never failed for Esau. So that's why you can never trust Esau in anything that he says. Anything Esau says is a way to lull you in, to take control, to destroy you in the long run. Nothing to our advantage, nothing to anyone's advantage to begin with. Esau cares about his security and no one else. Even when he's talking about, world peace, he's thinking about his peace, not really world peace. World peace if he's in control. But there's no world peace when he's not in control. He wants to destroy you. He's the one that got to run, world peace.
World domination.
World domination. Okay. I mean, you can see it all throughout. I'm not making this up. History. If you go all throughout history, you'll see everything that I'm the reference of everything that I'm saying here, and it never fails. Right? And he came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably, albeit the enemy were prepared to take away Judas by violence. Perfect example in modern day time. Gaddafi. If you see how Gaddafi was shaking hands with them, right, thinking everything was fine, but look what happened to him. Saddam. They were all in league with Saddam. Look what happened to him. So it's always been the same tactic all over. As long as they want what they want, they're gonna speak to you with nice words to get you at ease. Because that's the best way to get somebody without spend too much resources. Right? When you don't have too much rebellion, you don't have to use too much weapon, right? You already win. All you got to do is just finish them.
What we call it, annexation.
Correct. This is a good lesson for people who went to politics and governments. They should be reading these things right here. The nature of Esau. After this went Nicanor. So they saluted, right? Besides, no more. Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, 30. Which thing after it was known to Judas, to wit, that he came unto him with deceit, he was so afraid of him and would see his face no more. Judas also, he ran some counter intelligence, right? He ran some counter intelligence and realized what he was doing was deceit. So now when they find him out, he didn't bother to show up anymore. Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, went out to fight against Judas besides Salama, where there were slain of Nicanor's side about 5,000 men, and the rest fled into the city of David. So now, Esau's tactics also, after he realized you called his card, now he's gonna move in. He's gonna move in to do exactly what he came to do. Because at this point right now, there's nothing else left to do. So he got to move in with his squad and try to, try to finish you if he can. Nicanor, verse 32. I'm sorry, 33. After this, went Nicanor up to Mount Sion, and there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably, and to slew him, and to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king. But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly. At this point, Nicanor is enraged. He's upset. And when they try to show him what they did for the king, even though it was in the king's favor, because the defeat in the anguish that he had because of what Judas did, even them he didn't want to listen to. And keep in mind, he hated the Jews to begin with. Right? He hated them with a passion. Right? So meaning he would not negotiate anything, even if it was in the king's favor, just because the Jews he didn't like. But verse 35. And swear in his wrath, saying, unless Judas and his hosts be now delivered into my hands, if ever I come again in safety, I will burn up this house. And with that, he went out in a great rage. Then the priest esteemed him, the priest entered in and stood before the altar in the temple, weeping and saying, thou, O Lord, did choose his house to be called by that name, and to be a house of prayer and petition for thy people. Be avenged of this man and his hosts, and let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies, and suffer them not to continue any longer. So Nicanor went out of Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Bethron, where an host out of Syria met him. But Judas pitched in Adasa with 3,000 men. And there he prayed, saying, O Lord, when they that were sent from the king of the Assyrian blasphemed thine angels, went out and smote 180,500 of them. Even so destroy thou this host before us this day, that the rest may know that he have spoken blasphemy against thy sanctuary, and judge thou him according to his wickedness. So the 13th day of the month Adar, the host joined battle, but Nicanor's host was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. Now when Nicanor's host saw that he was slain, they cast away their weapons and fled. Then they pursue after them a day's journey from Adasa unto Gezerah, sounding an alarm after them with their trumpets. Whereupon they came forth out of all the towns of Judea round about, and closed them in. So that they, turning back upon them that pursued them, were all slain with the sword, and not one of them was left. Afterwards they took the spoils and the prey, and smote off Nicholas' head in his right hand, which he stretched out so proudly, and brought them away, and hanged them out, and hanged them up towards Jerusalem. For this cause the people rejoiced greatly, and they kept that day a day of great gladness. Moreover, they ordained to keep yearly this day, being the 13th day, being the 13th of Adar. Thus the land of Judah was in rest a little while. So this is the meaning of the day of Judas, as we read here why we observe this day. It is a day of great victory that the Most High bestowed upon Judas, so that the children of Israel can continue in peace for a while. So we have many great deliverance, and this was one of them that we have here. So now moving on to chapter 14 in 2nd Maccabees to get further edification of the feast. 2nd Maccabees chapter 14. So now after 3 years done passed, after what had happened, now we had some peace. It says, after 3 years was Judas informed that Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, having entered by the heaven of Tropolis with a great power and navy, had taken the country and killed Antiochus and Lysias, his protector. Now, one alchemist who had been high priest and had defiled himself willfully in the time of their mingling with the Gentiles, right? So we pretty much reading the same thing again, right? Just further edification. That's why I'm going to go swiftly in this chapter as well. It says, with Gentiles, being that by no means he could save himself, nor have any more access to the holy altar, came to the king Demetrius in 150th year, presenting unto him a crown of gold and palm, and also of the bow which were used solemnly in the temple, and so that he held his peace. So pretty much is going to the details of what Archimedes did, right? Trying to win favor of the king by bringing him gifts, right, that he stole from the temple. Albeit having gotten opportunity to further his foolish enterprise, and being called into council by Demetrius, and asked how the Jews stood affected and what they intended, he answered thereunto, those of the Jews that be called Assyrians, whose captain is Judas Maccabeus, nourish war and are seditious, and will not let the realm be in peace. So he was in favor of Hellenistic culture. So Judas stood in opposition of the Greeks. He said to the king that this man Judas would not let the kings, the Greek kings, right? He would not let his empire go in peace, because he's gonna cause trouble, because he's the guy that like to start war, right? So that was what he reported, as we read in chapter 7. In verse 8, it says, I'm sorry, therefore I being deprived of my ancestors' honor, I mean the high priest, am now come hither. So he said, because of Judas, he's not able to exercise or have the privilege of being high priest. They took that away from him, right? So he cannot enjoy his inheritance as being a priest. So that's why he came to report to the king what Judas is doing, so that the king can restore him as high priest in the temple of the Most High over the Israelites. Verse 8, first, verily, for the unfeigned care I have of things pertaining to the king, and secondly, even for that I intended the good of mine own countrymen, for all our nation is in no small misery through the unadvised dealing of them aforesaid. So he said he intended good wealth, he intended good care, or he want to see the welfare of his people, of his nation, his countrymen, but that cannot be possible because they are now in great misery because of Judas. Wherefore, O king, seeing thou knowest all these things, be careful for the country and our nation, which is pressed on every side, according to the clemency that thou readily showest unto all. So again, he's pleading his case before the king, but he's lying just because he wants to be in power. For as long as Judas liveth, it is not possible that the state should be quiet. As long as Judas is alive, it will be the country, Judea, Jerusalem, will be in a state of chaos as long as Judas is alive. The country will never be stable. There's no stability in Jerusalem as long as Judas is alive. So if he wants to have a hand, and if he wants to proclaim peace and take on the Jews and establish peace in Jerusalem, Judas is going to have to go. Verse 11. This was no sooner spoken of him, but orders of the king's friends being maliciously set against Judas, did more incense Demetrius, and forthwith calling Nicanor, who had been master of the elephants, and making him governor over Judas, over Judea, he sent him forth, commanding him to slay Judas and to scatter them that were with him, and to make Archimus high priest of the great temple. Same thing that we read. Now a little bit more details here and there. It's telling you how the thing went. Verse 14. Then the heathen that had fled out of Judea from Judas came to Nicanor by flocks, thinking the harm and calamities of the Jews to be their welfare. So you had a group of people who fled from Judas with the hope, because sometimes when you have opposition, the people in the country, the people in the country, for example, the regular folks, sometimes they don't have the capacity to really put two and two together. Because in the midst of the situation, kind of like you have two people, one pulling on one side, the other pulling on the other side, two have different interests. One said, you know what? Why are we going against the Greeks? They're in power right now, but all we need is peace. Why don't we just join them so that we can have peace? Right? But they don't know that by joining the Greeks will cause them to not be able to keep the laws of the Most High, which will bring them more trouble. But Judas, on the other hand, has a group of his soldiers and people who side with him, understood the fight that he's fighting. So it's like two people in the same, or two people in the same Judea, right? Jews, but each on different sides. Kind of like you have Republicans and Democrats, right? Kind of like something like this. One say you got to do things this way, and the Republicans say you got to do things that way. But they all want peace. The general population, they don't want war. They want peace. But one will bring you to one, evil, and the other one will bring you to another evil. As opposed to our situation, Judas is bringing them to righteousness, but the other one is bringing them to wickedness. But all in all, both sides want peace. Right? They don't really want war, they want peace. So whoever can bring them peace, right, on Nicanor's side, right, that's what they want. Kind of like today, you have our people. They said, man, all I want in America is just be able to feed my family, have a job, put food on the table. I don't know why you Israelites, you talking bad about America. At least, that's, I earn my bread here, I earn my money here. All they want is they want peace. But they don't understand that America is pretty much put them into slavery. So they don't see it as slavery, right? The same thing, the Greek is putting them into slavery by forcing them to abandon their law, statutes, and commandments. But again, they get some perks, right, that keep them going. Okay. So at the commandment of the captain, verse 15. Now, when the Jews heard of Nicanor coming, and that the heathen were up against them, they cast earth upon their heads and made supplication to him that had established his people forever, and who always helpeth his portion with manifestation of his presence. So they call on the Most High, who established our people forever, right? Established Israel forever, that he don't forsake us. Right? So 14 and 16 now. So at the commandment of the captain, they removed straightways from thence, and came near unto them at the town of Dessau. Now Simon, Judas' brother, had joined battle with Nicanor, but was somewhat discomfited through the sudden silence of his enemies. Nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing of the manliness of them that were with Judas, and the courageousness that they had to fight for their country, does not try to matter by the sword. Verse 19. Wherefore he sent Posidonius and Theodotus and Mattathias to make peace. So when they had taken long advisement thereupon, and the captain had made the multitude acquainted therewith, and it appeared that they were all of one mind, they consented to the covenants, and appointed a day to meet them together by themselves. And when the day came, and stools were set for either of them, Judas placed armed men ready in convenient places, lest some treachery should be suddenly practiced by the enemies. So they made a peaceable conference. Now Nicanor abode in Jerusalem, and came flocking unto him. And he would not willingly have Judas out of his sight, for he loved the man from his heart. So now he loved Judas' strategy, but not Judas the Jew. The Jew that keep the laws of the Most High, he don't want to have anything to do with. But he loved the strategy. He loved he's a strategist. He loved, how he employ himself, right, in the matter of organizing his troops, strategize, know how to conduct good intelligence, right? But all that was bestowed on Judas by the Most High, the intelligence, right, the skill to be able to fight for the laws and the cause that is worthy, right, to die for. Right, so that's why it says he loved the man from his heart, from his mind. He liked his strategies, but not the man as the Jew or an Israelite. He prayed him also to take a wife and to beget children. So he married, was quiet, and took part of his life. Even that's a strategy that Nicanor came with, because he knew by married and had lead a quiet life. It's just a matter of time to get them comfortable. Right. Esau play you through time. That's why they always tell you the government, when they after you, all they have is time. They can spend years and years and years gathering information, intels, how to get rid of you, but in the right time. Especially if you smart, you clever, you understand their game, they let you go for a while until they get you comfortable and they strike. All right. So that's the strategy that he's using on Judas at this point. But Alchemists, perceiving the love that was between them and considering the covenant that were made, Alchemist at this point, he's impatient. He's impatient. He doesn't understand the deal that Nicanor is using here. He thinks that, they have a friendship. Because sometimes when you want something quick and you can get it, and whatever communication that is not in your favor, you don't welcome it. So that's pretty much what's happening here with Alchemist. Right? So that details wasn't in 7. So that's why we got to read this so you get more details, right? It says, the covenant that were made came to Demetrius and told him that Nicanor was not well affected towards the state. For that he had ordained Judas, a traitor to his realm, to be the king's successor. So now he boasted a bigger lie. So now the man that the king appointed, whom the king believed to be the man for the job, he reported on that man. And he said, not only that, if you continue keeping Nicanor dealing with Judas, he might be the one replacing you, because he's forming, or he's training someone to replace you. And no kings wants to hear that. Then the kings, being enraged and provoked with the accusations of the most wicked men, wrote to Nicanor, signifying that he was much displeased with the covenant, and committing him that he should send Maccabeus prisoner in all haste unto Antioch. So he said, listen, I heard the accusation and I'm not happy with it. The only thing that would satisfy me right now is if you send Judas into prison. If I see that into Antioch, then I may, think twice about that situation here. Because if you don't send him to prison, I'm gonna know that the accusation that they brought against you has some truth to it, right? So he put Nicanor in a tough spot, but Nicanor himself was using strategy and was waiting for the right time to get Judas. Verse 28. When this came to Nicanor hearing, he was much confounded in himself, and took it grievously that he should make void the articles which were agreed upon. The men being in no fault, but because there was no dealing against the king, he watched his time to accomplish this thing by policy. You see? So now he made a deal with Judas, his hand is in dealing with the king and now with Nicanor. So he's going to sacrifice the deal that he made with Nicanor so that he can be in league with the king, because when he comes to matter of the kings, there's no betraying the king. And the king is his people to begin with, so therefore he's gonna stay for his own. He's gonna take for his own. Verse 30. Now, withstanding, when Maccabeus saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him, in that he entreated him more roughly, so now he started to behave in a way that is awkward, to Judas, and Judas noticed that, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont. Perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good, he gathered together not a few of his men and withdrew himself from Nicanor. So he gathered together a few of his men, and like for cover, as security, and he withdrew himself from Nicanor because he suspected that something ain't right. And indeed, something is not right. But the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas' policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that were offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him the men. And when they swear that they could not tell where the man was whom he sought, so he wanted to find out where Judas was, so he wanted them to deliver Judas, like betray Judas and tell him where Judas was. And they tell him they didn't know where Judas went, and Judas would not let them know where he went, because Judas at this point, as a strategist, he would make sure that he protects himself. But the other, knowing that he was notably prevented from, verse 32 now, and when they swear that they could not tell where the man was whom he sought, he stretched out his right hand toward the temple and made an oath in this manner: if you will not deliver me Judas as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground. So he would pretty much decimate the temple. I will lay this temple of God even with the ground. So he would make it flat. He will flat out the temple.
All right.
He will make it even with the ground.
Destroy it.
Right.
Sounds like a verse in the Psalms.
Right. So that's how you know Esau is the destroyer, as the Bible's talked about. But little do they know, when you speak like that, the Most High made the destroyer. Get that scripture, Yahukanan, in Isaiah 54 in verse 16. Isaiah 54 in verse 16. Can read that, Bible question.
Isaiah 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
Right.
And I have created the waster to destroy.
Another word for a waster is a destroyer, right? To destroy. Esau is the destroyer. No wonder why Esau is the one that came up with the nuclear weapon. Einstein, Oppenheimer. right? Because he created the smith, right? The man that create the weapon, he created him. So Esau is the Most High's creation, right? He created him. And what is one of their weapon manufacturer today? Smith and Wesson,
Smitty.
right?
Mr. Smith.
They the one that create arms. So they always been in the business, and they still in the business,
Goes back to Richard P. Gatlin. The Gatlin.
Oh, yeah.
right? So he created the destroyer. So Esau is the destroyer. So he create Esau, even Esau, for the day of evil. Right? What is that? Proverb 16 and 4. Proverbs 16 and verse 4. But read Yahukanan in Isaiah 54 and read verse 17 now. Even though the Most High create the smith and he created the destroyer, and Esau is the destroyer, hear what the Most High say about the destroyer.
Isaiah 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn.
Right. So even the Most High created the destroyer, right? But the destroyer cannot destroy us because the Most High control the destroyer. That's why I said no weapon that the smith can come up with can prosper against you if it's not the Most High's will to let it happen.
Amen.
So no matter how much weapon, how much nuclear power that they have, no weapon that they come up with can prosper,
Can't affect us.
cannot affect us, so long that we stay with the Most High and keep the law, statutes, and commandments.
That pertains to mental, spiritual weapons too.
Right. Of course. Of course. Because the spiritual is what they come up with first to make you scared. Because once they have the weapon, you know they the smith, they make you scared. Because psychologically, Esau makes people scared because of the idea of him having nuclear weapon. Just the idea alone spiritually make people afraid before you even shoot the weapon. Right? Before you even use the weapon, people are already afraid. All right, so read on in verse 30, 34. No, I read that already. Verse 39. So Nicanor, I'm sorry, 38. No, what did you accuse of Nicanor was Razis. Therefore, 35, right? No. Right. He stretched out his hand. Let me read that again, 33. He stretched out his right hand towards the temple and made an oath in this manner: if ye will not deliver me, Judas, as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground, and I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus. After these words, he departed. Then the priests lifted up their hands towards heaven and besought him that was ever a defender of their nation, saying in this manner: Thou, O Lord of all things, who has needs of nothing, was pleased that the temple of thine habitation should be among us. Therefore now, O Lord, therefore now, O holy Lord of all holiness, keep this house ever undefiled, which lately was cleansed, and stop every unrighteous mouth. Now was there accused unto Nicanor one Razis, one of the elders of Jerusalem, a lover of his countrymen, and a man of very good report, who for his kindness was called a father of the Jews. For in the former times, when they mingled not themselves with the Gentiles, he had been accused of Judaism, and did boldly jeopard his body and life with all vehemency for the religion of the Jews. So Nicanor, willing to declare the hate that he bare unto the Jews, sent above 500 men of war to take him. For he thought by taking him to do the Jews much hurt. Now, when the multitude would have taken the tower and violently broken into the outer door, and bade that fire should be brought to burn it, he being ready to be taken on every side fell upon his sword, choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked, to be abused otherwise than beseem his noble birth. But missing his stroke through haste, the multitude also rushing within the door, he ran boldly up to the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them. But they quickly give him back, and space being made, he fell down into the midst of the void place. Nevertheless, while there was yet breath within him, being inflamed with anger, he rose up and thought his blood gush out like spouts of water, and his wounds were grievous. Yet he ran through the midst of the throng, and standing upon a deep rock, when as his blood was now quite gone, he plucked out his bowels, and taking them in both his hands, he cast them upon the throne, and calling upon the Lord of life and spirit to restore him those again, he thus died. So this is the people reminiscence of the valiant act that was done as Nicanor made that threat on the temple. So now they're contemplating, they're meditating, they're reminiscing what had happened, and nothing is too small for the Most High, especially to preserve his good judgment. Chapter 15 and 1. But Nicanor hearing that Judas and his company were in the strong places about Samaria, resolved without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day. Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, "O destroy not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to that day, which ye that seeth all things have honored with holiness above other days. Then the most ungracious wretch demanded if there were a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the Sabbath to be kept. And when they said, there is in heaven a living Lord, and mighty, who commanded the seventh day to be kept. Then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth. Remember the one that said, be mighty upon earth? Anybody? Who said that he was mighty upon earth? God manifested. Antioch Epiphany. All right. And it says, and when he said, there is in heaven and living Lord and mighty, who commanded the seventh day to be kept. Then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth, and I commanded to take arms and to do the king's business. Yet he obtained not to have his wicked will done. Nicanor, in exceeding pride and hardiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him. So that was his plan, right? But Maccabeus had ever sure confident that the Lord would help him. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty, and so comforted them out of the law and the prophets, and withal putting them in mind of the battle that they won afore. So he tried to raise their spirit, try to, rile them up and tell them, keep in mind everything that is done before, all the fight, all the battle that we won before. Keep all that in mind, and Most High will fight for us, and he will give us the victory. And he made them more cheerful. And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, showing them therewithal the falsehood of the heathen and the breach of oaths. Said that you cannot make deal with them. He showed the heathen break oath. They don't keep their words, and we fighting for a just cause, right? 11. Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shield and spears, as with comfortable and good words. And besides that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed. So he armed them with weapons of faith in the Most High, with the good words of faith, right? Because the word is weapon, right? So he made sure that they understood what they're fighting for, and to not get discouraged in the fight that they have at hand. Right? So he's going to continue to tell them a dream to further inspire them. As if it had been so, indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. Right? It says, as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. You rejoice them not just a little, but reinforce everything that he had told them before, right? To enlighten their mind and to keep them alert on the fight that is at hand. It is not a fight that is going to be fought with physical weapon, but mostly you got to have the word at heart. Verse 12. And this was his vision, that Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and good man, reverend in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands, pray for the whole body of the Jews. This done, in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs, and exceeding glorious, who was of a wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Onias answered, saying, this is a lover of the brethren, who prayeth much for the people and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremiah, the prophet of God. Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and giving it, spake thus: take this holy work sword, and gift from God, with the which thou shalt wound the adversary. Thus, being well comforted by the sword of Judas, which were very good and able to stir them up to valor and to encourage the hearts of the young men, they determined not to pitch tent, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict. So now, let's go to Psalm 37 and verse 4. Psalm 37 and 4.
Any question?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this a dream, or did this man appear before the whole congregation there?
Remember, when we started right here, it says he's going to tell them a dream. So he told them a dream worthy to be believed. Right? He told them a dream worthy to be believed.
So Jeremy the prophet didn't appear and give him a golden sword in front of everybody? No. That was a dream?
That was a dream. Oh. But the sword, the golden sword that he gave him, is not actually a sword. So the sword is spiritual sword, which is the word, which is Yahushua.
Okay.
Okay? Remember, the word is a weapon, and Yahushua is a weapon. A weapon that destroy kingdom. Right? The word destroy kingdom. Right? Because when Yahushua came, he came to speak the word of the kingdom. Right? He came to test the kingdom of this world with the word. Right? With the word. That's why he didn't use any weapon at that time. He showed them with the word, right? He can do everything that he wanted to do. But second time, he's going to come with the word. He's the word, and he's going to come with a sword, right, to destroy it. Okay. So we could read 34 37 and 4. Kana Nabia.
37.
Psalm 37 and 4.
The full verse or
The Gabar gonna read that for us.
All right. Psalm 37 and 4.
Go ahead.
step by step?
It links with verse 17. Mhm.
All right. The book of Psalms 37 and 4. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
Right. So delight ourselves in the Lord, and He's gonna give us the bottle. And how do we desire? How do we desire? Read that again.
Delight thyself
Mhm.
also in the Lord,
Right.
and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
Gone. So the desire of Judas for his soldiers, the victory to be able to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and preserve our culture, right? So that's what they desire. So now the only way they can obtain that is by delight in Yahushua, in the word of Yahushua, and that's all the words that He's given them to comfort them. Okay. In verse right, in verse 17 again, it says, thus being well comforted by the words, right? Being well comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good and able to stir them up to valor. So that pretty much stirred them up to great value. Now they feel like they're fighting for something that is valuable and worth value, and they feel like they worth it to fight for that cause. And to encourage the heart, to encourage their mind of the young men, they determined not to pitch camp, but courageously to set upon them, and manfully to try the matter by conflict. So now they were ready to confront the situation that is at hand. So most of the time, sometimes, to get rid of your fear, you're supposed to confront the situation that is at hand to action, right? Because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. For the care that they took for their wives and their children, their brethren and kinsfolks, was in least account with them. But the greatest and principal fear was for the holy temple. Also they that were in the city took not the least care, being troubled for the conflict abroad. And now when 17,
Hebrews 4 and 12.
Hebrews 4 and 12.
It pretty much says, the word of God took a powerful and sharper than two-edged sword, cutting into the dividing center of soul and spirit, and the joints and marrow, and the discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart.
Gun. It's a two-edged sword. The word is a two-edged sword. Right? It's a two-edged sword. Verse 20. And that was Hebrews 4 and 12. And now when as all look what should be the trial, and the enemies were already come near, and the army was set in array, and the beasts conveniently placed, And the horsemen set in wings. Maccabeus, seeing the coming of the multitude and the diverse preparation of armor and the fierceness of the beasts, stretch out his hands towards heaven and call upon the Lord that worketh wonders, knowing that victory cometh not by arms, but even as it seemeth good to him, he giveth it to such as are worthy. Therefore, in his prayer, he said after this manner, O Lord, thou didst send thine angels in the time of Hezekiah, king of Judea, and did slay in the host of Sennacherib 185,000. Wherefore now also, O Lord of heaven, send a good angel before us for fear and dread unto them. So we ask for reinforcement, the angel, right? And through the midst of thine arm, let those be stricken with terror that come against thy holy people to blaspheme. And he ended thus. Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs. But Judas and his company encountered the enemy with invocation and prayer. So that fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their heart, they slew no less than 35,000 men. For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered. The Most High answered their prayer. The appearance of the Most High came to that angel that they desired to come in and help them out. They killed 35, they killed no less than 35,000 men. That's a lot of bloodshed. Now, when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness. Then they made a great shout and a noise, praising the Almighty in their own language. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and mind, and who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life, commanded to strike off Nicanor's heads in his hand with his shoulder and bring them to Jerusalem. So when he was there and had called them of his nations together and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that were of the tower and shewed them vile Nicholas' head in the hand of that blasphemer, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty. And when he had cut out the tongue of that ungodly Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls, and hang up the reward of his madness before the temple. So every man praised towards the heaven the glorious Lord, saying, Blessed be he that have kept his own place undefiled. He hang also Nicanor's head upon the tower, and evident and manifest signs unto all of the help of the Lord. And they ordained all with a common decree into the congregation in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 20th month of the 20th on the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day. Thus went it with Nicanor. And from that time forth, the Hebrews had the city in their power. And here will I make an end. And if I had done well, and as it fitting the story, it is that which I desire. But if slenderly and meanly, it is that which I could attain unto. For as it is hurtful to drink wine or water alone, and as wine mingled with water is pleasant, in the light of the taste, even so speech finely framed the light of the ears of them that read the story. And here shall be an end. Right. So we see everything that we celebrate has purpose and meaning behind it. We don't celebrate things just because. This was a great day, a marvelous day, a great victory day that Judas won against the enemy who sought to destroy the temple, and his arm was pointed, and his tongue that he was spoken with was cut and chopped into pieces and feed to the birds, right? And his head pretty much was there as a monument to remind them not to mess with the children of the Most High. So this is a great day to celebrate, to enjoy, but most importantly, to remember there's another great day that's coming, which a lot of our people may not have the fortitude or the law, statute, commandments. They don't understand how the Most High will deliver us out of the hand of Esau here in North America, and that's the day that we look forward to. Right? That's the day that we look forward to, because this enemy, Esau, is pretty much, wreak havoc on the world, and everything that you touch, Esau polluted. So he seemed impossible to defeat, but he will. So we're looking for that great day in remembrance of this day of today, how Judas was able to gain victory, something that seemed impossible to man, but with the Most High, all things are possible. Let's get that scripture. Y'all can get that scripture for us, Baba Kushan. With men, things are not possible, but with the Most High, all is possible. And also, there is no excuse for people to not believe that the Most High exists. Even Esau knew that the Most High exists. Everybody knew that the Most High exists. The creation knows that the Most High exists. But they choose not to believes that the Most High existed.
Matthew chapter 19, verse 26. But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible.
Right. Because he's the creator that create all things. And let's go to Romans chapter 1 and verse 19. Romans chapter 1 and verse 19. Bob, you could you want to read that, Yalkana?
Romans chapter 1, verse 19. Because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God had shown it unto them.
Right. We read it again.
Romans chapter 1, verse 19. Because that which may be known of God.
That which may be known of God, meaning to know that the Most High exists, right? He showed it to everybody through his creation. Like if you look at nature, the way things are set up in perfect order, in perfect way. When you look at the birds, you look at everything. You look at the trees, you look at how things set up perfectly. The Creator, the Most High, had to create it. There's no accident. It's not no Big Bang theory that make these things happen the way it happens. We don't Yalkana.
For God had showed it unto them.
Right? Read verse 20.
For the invisible things of him.
For the invisible things of the Most High.
From the creation of the world. Are clearly seen.
From the creation of the world are clearly seen. Read on.
Being understood by the things that are made.
Being understood by the things that are made. Read on.
Even his eternal power.
Even his eternal power. Read on.
And Godhead.
And Godhead.
So that they are without excuse.
So that they are without excuse. Nobody should have an excuse that the Most High existed. But yet the Most High tells you the Most High communicate to everybody through his creation that he's there. He's the one that did it. Right? Because the Most High, that's how he speaks. You will never see the Most High face to face, but you can see him, you can understand him through the creation. You can understand him through Yahushua. You can understand him through his people when they keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Right? You can understand him through everything that you see in creation. That's the Most High communicating through people. Esau, anybody, all the nations, the Most High communicated his existence through the creation so that they are without excuse. All right, so unless anyone have something to bring out, we'll put an end to this. And knowing that our Creator, the one who chose the children of Israel, he's well alive. And the reason why it says the Most High will never leave his throne, but he will communicate up on high in diverse way. Because the Most High speaks in diverse way. But whatever way he speaks, it should be aligned with the scriptures. To his creation, he talked to the children of Israel through the dietary law. He speaks to us through the moral law. He speaks to us through the judicial law, right? He speaks to us through all the laws in the Bible. That's how the Most High speaks to us. He speaks to us through everything that he prescribed for us. So that's the Most High communicating through us up in heaven. Through Yahushua, he communicates to us. Everything is communication. And the Most High speak to us again in diverse ways. Let's get one last scripture on what I just said. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 1 in verse 1. Go by, you can read that. Hebrews 1 and 1. Because the closest we will come to Yahweh, to the Most High, is through Yahweh. That's why you cannot see him in person. But he communicates to us through Yahweh, through the word, in diverse way, through a creation. Read that, Bible Koshak.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 1 and verse 1. God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets.
Right, in diverse manners. He speak to the prophets in sundry time in diverse manners. Everything is of the Most High. Everything is a communication from the Most High. Even the wicked is a communication from the Most High. He created the wicked for the day of evil. That's a communication from the Most High. He communicates everything through his creation. All right, so with that, we're going to say stay tuned for the closing prayer. Enjoy the feast. Tomorrow, we're going to start the first day of Purim. All right? So we're going to try to start, if possible, early so we can finish at a decent time so we can get to enjoy for those of us who going to get up and go to work in the morning. All right, so with that, stay tuned for the closing prayer and enjoy the feast. All right. Shalom. Not yet. You say shalom, they won't stay for the closing prayer. I'm out. Wakta Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Ashura, within an hour par Yagapun Dwara Amun, La Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Af Yasha. English translation: Bless our Yah in the name of Yahweh Shai that give to us the fruit of the vine, to Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai with Israel. I marvel upon you, are you washing them? Since fish Yahweh. Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Abakushai,
Barukushai,
Shemai,
Shammai,
Lanawa,
Manawa,
Aitha,
Aitha,
Yamyun,
Yamyun,
Aitha,
Aitha,
Shalat,
Shalat,
Micah Allah,
Micah Allah,
Walahayim,
Walahayim,
Tazu Dakim,
Tabudaki,
Shemo Ayel,
Shema Ai,
Barak,
Barak,
Wapa,
Rapah,
Magun,
Magan,
Wakaziyak,
Wakaziah,
Bunya,
Banya,
Yashala,
Yashua,
Washalat,
Washalat,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Kakama,
Rakama,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Ta'if,
Da'ai,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Ayana,
Bayana,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Sabalonwa,
Salonwa,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Amawan,
Amawan,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Aqua,
Aqua,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Ahabiam,
Ahabi,
Rabiam,
Rabi,
Agana,
Agana,
Wakanaya,
Wakanai,
Wasalat,
Wasalat,
Ko,
Ka,
Katayimna,
Katayimna,
Akim,
La'aki,
Wayashala,
Yasha'al,
Damyad,
Damyad,
Waiwulam,
Waiwulam,
Ba'asham,
Ba'asham,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Tawada,
Tawada,
Aman.
Aman.
English translation. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please listen to us now, right now. Send Michael and the righteous powers and angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. And send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive us all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, and forgive us all our sins for the forgive us all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahushua, I thank you, so be it. Four corners prayer. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Barak Nawa,
Barak Nawa,
Wayasha'ala,
Yasha'al,
Bafi Sapayim,
Yasapar,
Shema,
Shammai,
Yashu'ala,
Yashua,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Allah Hainawa, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Achad.
Yahweh.
All right, blessing for the food. Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Agadol,
Agadah,
God of war.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Gadawar,
Gawar,
Ba'ashem,
Ba'ashem,
Adawanya,
Adawanya,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
Babukushai,
Barukushah,
Barak,
Barak,
Ma'akal,
Ma'akal,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Shatai,
Shaddai,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Yayan,
Yayan,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Lacham,
Lacham,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Shakar, Shakara,
Shakara,
Yanawa,
Yanawa,
Zakar,
Zakar,
Shaw,
Shaw,
Adawan, Yuwam,
Yawam,
Adawan.
Adawan,
Oh, you can't. Yuwam,
Yawam,
Yahauda,
Yahweh,
Bahasham,
Ba'ashem,
Yahushai,
Yahushua,
the water,
the water,
Aman.
Aman.
All right. With that, we're gonna say peace, blessings, enjoy the feast, and have a blessed night. See you tomorrow at even for the Feast of Purim. Shalom.
Shalom.